you ever felt exposed, vulnerable, or like you're completely bare to the world? But here's the thing. What if I told you that being truly naked could be your superpower? That's right, I'm not just talking about physically being without clothes. I'm talking about when you feel stripped of everything, when everything is on the line, when the world is watching, when you are naked. That's the moment to do these 5 things. These actions will unlock the full potential of who you are. And trust me, once you do them, you never go back. When you're standing there, completely exposed, there's one thing you must do: own your vulnerability, and this is where the magic happens. Because vulnerability is not a weakness, it is in fact a hidden superpower that can transform your life if you let it. We live in a world where we're conditioned to hide our flaws, mask our emotions, and present an image of perfection. We're told that to be strong means to never show weakness, never let anyone see the cracks in our armor. But I'm here to tell you, true strength comes from embracing those cracks, from acknowledging your scars and wearing them with pride. Vulnerability is the gateway to growth, connection, and true power. Take a moment to reflect on the times you felt vulnerable. Maybe it was when you made a mistake in front of others, or when you were forced to face a painful truth about yourself that you couldn't ignore anymore. We all have those moments, the moments where we feel completely exposed, where our heart races, and we wonder how we'll ever move past the fear of judgment, rejection, or failure. It's uncomfortable, it's terrifying, but what if that vulnerability is the very thing that will set you free? And let me take you back to a time in your life, maybe even just a few weeks ago, when you felt completely out of your depth. Maybe you were having a conversation with someone who looked at you with a critical eye. Or perhaps you were making a big decision that carried the weight of the world on your shoulders. You stood there vulnerable, exposed to the world. You could have chosen to put up a wall, to hide behind a mask of indifference, or to act like everything was fine. But you didn't. You chose to stand in your truth. And in doing so, you own your vulnerability. When you own your vulnerability, you stop pretending. You stop faking it. You stop putting on a show for everyone around you. And that is where you find freedom. Because the moment you stop pretending, you open up to the possibility of real growth. You start to realize that your imperfections are not something to be ashamed of. They're part of your story. And they are what make you human. You begin to understand that by sharing your struggles, your doubts, and your fears, you are giving others permission to do the same. Vulnerability connects us in a way that nothing else can. Take a look at the most successful and powerful people in the world. You might think they have it all together, that their lives are flawless. But the truth is, the most successful people are often the ones who have learned to embrace their vulnerability, to admit when they don't have all the answers, to ask for help when they need it. Think of someone like Oprah Winfrey. Do you think she became the powerhouse she is by pretending to be invincible? No. Oprah built her empire by owning her vulnerability, by sharing her struggles and showing the world her authentic self. She turned her pain into purpose. She understood that vulnerability was the key to building deep, meaningful connections with people. And that was her power. Now, think about a time in your life when you were facing a challenge, maybe something big, something that pushed you to your limits. It could be a relationship that ended, a job you lost, or a goal you failed to reach. You could have chosen to hide, to bury your feelings and pretend like everything was fine. But there was a moment, maybe just a fleeting second, when you chose to stand up and face the pain, face the fear, and say to yourself, I can do this. That's the moment you owned your vulnerability. You didn't shy away from it. You used it to fuel your strength. And from that vulnerability, you grew. You learned. You adapted. You became stronger than you ever thought possible. Vulnerability doesn't make you weak. It makes you authentic. In a world where everyone is trying to put on a facade of perfection, being vulnerable is a radical act of courage. When you stand in your truth, when you show the world that you are human, you break free from the chains of self-doubt. You let go of the need to appear flawless, and you start to embrace the beauty of imperfection. I want you to think of the people you admire most. Do they seem perfect to you? Or do they have moments where they've shared their struggles, their failures, and their growth? Think about someone you love, someone who has been through tough times but still managed to get up, keep going, and keep fighting. That person has owned their vulnerability. They didn't run from it. They used it as a stepping stone to success, to resilience, to a life that is filled with meaning. They realized that the only way to move forward is to face the discomfort head on, to accept that vulnerability is not something to hide, but something to wear proudly as a badge of honor. Every time you face a challenge in life, whether it's a personal struggle or a professional obstacle, ask yourself, how can I own this vulnerability? How can I use this moment to grow stronger? The more you embrace your vulnerability, the more you realize that it is a tool, an incredibly powerful one, that will carry you through life's toughest moments. And when you share that vulnerability with others, you create deep connections that are rooted in authenticity. People are drawn to those who are willing to show up as they are, who are willing to be real, even when it's uncomfortable. So the next time you're faced with a choice to either hide or be vulnerable, remember this: vulnerability is your power. It's your ability to face fear and still move forward. It's your ability to stand tall even when you feel exposed. And it's your ability to connect with others in a way that is meaningful, deep, and real. Own it, because when you do, you unlock a power within yourself that you never knew existed. Shame is one of the most crippling forces in our lives. It holds us back, keeps us small, and stops us from becoming the greatest version of ourselves. It whispers in our ears, telling us that we are not good enough, that our mistakes define us, and that we should hide in the shadows to avoid being seen. But here's the truth. Shame is not a reflection of who you are. It is a reflection of the lies you've been told and the beliefs you've accepted that don't serve you. It's time to let go of shame and stop letting it dictate the course of your life. Think about a time when you made a mistake. Maybe it was something small, maybe it was something big, but in that moment you felt the weight of shame pressing down on you. You felt like you were less than everyone else, like you didn't measure up. You may have tried to cover it up to avoid the truth, but deep down, that feeling of shame lingered. It lingered because in that moment you believed that your mistake defined you, that it made you less worthy of success, love, or happiness. That's the power shame has. It convinces you that you're something you're not. We live in a world that glorifies perfection. Social media, the news, even the people around us often celebrate the perfect moments, the highlight reels of life. And in doing so, they breed a culture of comparison. We look at others, we measure our own lives against theirs, and we feel inadequate because we believe we're not measuring up. And when we fall short of these false expectations, shame creeps in. But what if we stopped comparing ourselves to others? What if we stopped holding ourselves to impossible standards? What if we let go of shame completely? Look at the people who inspire you the most. Do they have perfect lives? Do they have a path without mistakes? No. The most successful, powerful people in the world are often the ones who have faced their mistakes head on, confronted their fears, and chosen to learn from them. Take someone like Beyonce, for example. She's been in the spotlight for years, yet she's not immune to mistakes, failures, or moments of vulnerability. But what makes her more powerful is that she's never let shame define her. She owns her flaws, her struggles, and uses them as fuel for her growth. She doesn't hide from her past. She embraces it. And that's what we all need to do. You may think to yourself, but my mistake was too big. My failure is too embarrassing. How can I move forward from something like that? Well, let me tell you this. Your mistakes are not your identity. You are not defined by what you've done wrong, but by what you choose to do next. Letting go of shame means taking ownership of your past, but not letting it control your future. It means forgiving yourself, understanding that everyone makes mistakes, and that failure is not a permanent state. It's a lesson, a stepping stone toward your next success. One of the biggest traps of shame is that it makes us believe that we are alone in our struggles. We think that if people knew the real us, the mistakes we've made, the things we've been through, they would judge us, reject us, or think less of us. But here's the reality. You are not alone. There are millions of people out there who have been through similar struggles, who have faced their own demons, who have felt the sting of shame. Guess what? When they see you owning your story, they won't look at you with judgment. They'll look at you with admiration. They'll see your courage. They'll see your strength. Think about the last time you saw someone open up about their struggles or admit their mistakes publicly. Did you judge them or did you respect them more? You probably respected them. You probably thought to yourself, wow, it takes real strength to admit that. And the truth is it does. It takes incredible courage to let go of the shame and step into your truth. It takes bravery to show up and say, I'm not perfect, but I'm doing my best. And the more you let go of shame, the more you'll realize how powerful and liberating it is. There's a saying that goes, shame dies when stories are told in safe places. When you allow yourself to share your story, your struggles, your mistakes, your fears, you take away shame's power over you. You take away its ability to control you and keep you hidden. And when you do that, you become free. You step into your true power because you no longer carry the burden of shame around like a heavy weight. You shed it. And with each step you take, you become lighter, more confident, and more in control of your own narrative. Letting go of shame doesn't mean you dismissing your mistakes. No, it means you're giving yourself the grace to grow. You're accepting that mistakes are part of the journey, not the end of it. Mistakes are lessons in disguise. Each mistake you make teaches you something valuable, something that will help you move forward with more wisdom and more resilience. If you hold on to the shame, you stop learning. You stay stuck in the past. But if you let go of it, you free yourself to move toward a brighter future. I want you to think about something. What would your life look like if you didn't carry shame with you? What would happen if you stopped judging yourself for every misstep, every failure, and started treating yourself with compassion? What if you could look at your mistakes, see them as part of your story, and say, that doesn't define me. It's just a chapter, not the whole book. Let go of shame, and you'll realize that you are free to be who you truly are without the weight of guilt or fear holding you back. You'll be able to walk through life with your head held high, knowing that you are worthy of everything you desire. Confidence isn't something you are born with, it's something you claim. It's something you build through actions, through overcoming obstacles, and through making the choice every single day to stand in your truth. So many of us are walking around with an internal dialogue that tells us we're not good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough, not worthy enough. But I'm here to tell you that confidence is within you, just waiting to be reclaimed. It's time to stop shrinking yourself to make others feel comfortable and start stepping into the fullness of who you are. You are capable of achieving greatness. And the moment you choose to reclaim your confidence, everything in your life changes. Think about a time in your life when you doubted yourself. Maybe it was during an important interview, a big presentation, or when you were about to take a major step forward. Your heart was pounding. Your palms were sweating, and your mind was filled with doubt. You questioned whether you were good enough, whether you had what it takes to succeed. In those moments, it's easy to forget the powerful person you truly are. But confidence isn't about never doubting yourself. It's about showing up in spite of the doubt, in spite of the fear, and still choosing to move forward. Confidence isn't the absence of fear, it's the courage to act despite it. Now, I want you to think about someone you admire, someone you look at and think, wow, they have so much confidence. Maybe it's someone famous, or maybe it's someone close to you, someone who seems to have it all together. Do you think that person never faced moments of doubt, of uncertainty? Of course not. But what they've done, what they continue to do, is reclaim their confidence every single time they face a challenge. They've learned that confidence doesn't come from external validation. It comes from an inner belief that no matter what happens, they are enough. Take a look at someone like Michael Jordan. He's considered one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But did you know he was cut from his high school basketball team? He could have let that moment define him. He could have walked away, allowed self-doubt to take over, and given up on his dream. But he didn't. Instead, he chose to reclaim his confidence, to work harder, and to believe in his ability to succeed even when the world was telling him otherwise. And he went on to become one of the most iconic athletes in history, not because of natural talent alone, but because of the belief he had in himself, despite the odds. It's easy to feel like you're not good enough when things don't go according to plan. Maybe you faced rejection in your career, experienced failure in a relationship, or felt overlooked in a social situation. But rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's simply a redirection. Every time you face rejection or failure, you have two choices. You can let it define you, or you can use it as fuel to reclaim your confidence and try again. Failure is not the end of the road. It's the beginning of a new path, one that leads you closer to the person you were always meant to become. Reclaiming your confidence also means letting go of the comparison trap. We live in a world where social media constantly bombards us with images of people who seem to have it all. Their lives look perfect, their careers are thriving, and they always seem to have everything figured out. And yet, when you compare yourself to others, you diminish your own worth. Your journey is unique, and it doesn't matter where someone else is in their life. What matters is where you are right now and how you choose to move forward. Your story is not meant to look like anyone else's. And it's time to stop measuring your worth based on someone else's success. When you reclaim your confidence, you stop comparing, you stop competing, and you start embracing your own path. Think of a time when you took a leap of faith. Maybe it was starting a new job, moving to a new city, or pursuing a passion you had put on hold for too long. That decision took courage. It took confidence, and it probably felt scary at first, right? But look at you now. You are stronger, wiser, and more resilient because you chose to take that step. The only thing holding you back is your own belief in yourself. The only thing between you and the success you desire is your confidence. When you reclaim it, there's nothing you can't achieve. The truth is, confidence isn't something that's given to you. It's something you must claim for yourself. No one can give you permission to be confident. It's not about waiting for someone to validate you, to tell you that you're worthy, or to applaud you for your efforts. Confidence comes from within. It comes from standing in front of your reflection every day and saying, I am enough. I am worthy. I am capable. It comes from doing the things that scare you, from failing and getting back up, and from trusting that you have what it takes to succeed. Confidence is built by proving to yourself through action that you can handle whatever comes your way. And here's the thing, you already have everything inside you to reclaim your confidence. The world may try to tell you otherwise, but don't listen. You've faced challenges before, and you've made it through. You've been knocked down, but you've gotten back up. And every time you do, you become stronger. Every time you choose to believe in yourself, you build a foundation of confidence that can't be shaken. And the more you reclaim it, the more it becomes a part of who you are. It's not something you have to search for outside of yourself. It's something that has always been inside you, waiting to be acknowledged. So the next time you feel doubt creeping in, the next time you face a challenge, or the next time you question whether you have what it takes, reclaim your confidence. Look at yourself in the mirror and remind yourself of all the reasons you are capable. Remember the times you've overcome adversity. Recall the victories, both big and small, that have brought you to where you are today. And know that you are more than enough. When you stand in that truth, when you step into the confidence that is rightfully yours, nothing can stop you. Self-love is often misunderstood. It's not about being arrogant, selfish, or self-centered. It's about honoring who you are, respecting your own worth, and taking care of yourself. Not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. Self-love is the foundation upon which everything else is built. When you learn to love yourself deeply, you unlock the potential to achieve greatness, to heal, and to attract everything you desire. Too often, we get caught up in the opinions of others, the need for external validation, and the belief that we have to prove our worth. But the truth is, when you learn to focus on self-love, you no longer need anyone's approval. You no longer seek validation because you know, without a doubt, that you are enough. Think about the times when you've been too hard on yourself. Maybe you didn't meet your own expectations. Maybe you made a mistake or failed in some way. And in that moment, instead of being compassionate with yourself, you criticized, blamed, and shamed yourself. We've all been there. We've all fallen into the trap of believing that our worth is tied to our achievements, or that we are only valuable when we're meeting the standards that others set for us. But self-love teaches you that your worth is not based on what you do or don't do. It's inherent. It's always been there. Self-love is about realizing that you are valuable simply because you exist. Think about the people you love the most. You love them not because of their accomplishments or because they've done something to deserve it, but because of who they are, because of their essence, their heart, and the way they make you feel. That's how you should love yourself. You should love yourself for the same reasons. You should love yourself for your unique qualities, for your kindness, your resilience, and for all that you are, no matter where you are in life. When you focus on self-love, you stop waiting for others to love you in the way you deserve. You stop searching for approval because you realize you've always had the power to give that love to yourself. One of the greatest obstacles to self-love is the negative inner dialogue we all battle with. We've been conditioned to criticize ourselves, to believe that we're not good enough, not pretty enough, not smart enough. We look in the mirror and see our flaws instead of our beauty, our weaknesses instead of our strengths. But here's the truth. The way you speak to yourself matters more than anything else in this world. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough, you'll start to believe it. But if you start to speak to yourself with kindness, compassion, and love, you'll start to see yourself through a new lens. You'll realize that you are worthy of the same love and respect that you give to others. Take a moment to think about how you talk to yourself. If you wouldn't say it to a friend, why would you say it to yourself? Imagine if you treated your best friend the way you sometimes treat yourself. Would you call them names? Would you constantly point out their flaws? Of course not. You would lift them up, support them, and remind them of how amazing they are. It's time to start doing that for yourself. Every time that negative voice creeps in, counter it with something positive. Replace the words of criticism with words of affirmation. Look at yourself and say, I am worthy of love. I am strong. I am capable. I am enough. You may not believe it at first, but the more you repeat these affirmations, the more they will become your reality. Your thoughts shape your world, and your world can only change when you change the way you think about yourself. Another aspect of self-love is learning to set boundaries. Too often, we say yes when we really want to say no. We people please. We give our time, our energy, and our resources to others, often at the expense of our own well-being. But here's the thing. When you don't prioritize yourself, you're not giving your best to anyone. You can't pour from an empty cup. Self-love is about knowing when to say no, about knowing when to protect your peace, and about honoring your needs. It's about being honest with yourself and others, about what you can give without sacrificing your own happiness. When you set boundaries, you are teaching others how to treat you. And more importantly, you are showing yourself that you are worthy of respect and care. Think about a time when you felt drained, overwhelmed, or even resentful because you gave too much of yourself to someone else. That's a sign that you were neglecting self-love. But when you practice self-love, you recognize those signs earlier. You understand that it's okay to say no. You understand that taking care of yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. And when you put yourself first, you show up for others in a way that is genuine, fulfilling, and truly supportive. When you love yourself, you have so much more to give to those you care about. Self-love also means taking care of your body, your mind, and your spirit. It's about nourishing yourself with good food, exercising to feel strong, and engaging in activities that bring you joy and peace. It's about giving yourself permission to rest when you're tired and to take breaks when you need them. We live in a society that glorifies hustle and constant productivity, but the truth is you cannot be your best self when you're running on empty. Self-love is about knowing that rest is as important as work, that taking care of yourself is just as important as taking care of others. There's a concept called self-compassion that's closely tied to self-love. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness, care, and understanding that you would offer to a friend who was going through a tough time. We all make mistakes. We all face challenges. And we all have moments where we fall short of our expectations. But instead of beating yourself up when you fall, show yourself compassion. Forgive yourself. Understand that mistakes are part of the human experience and they don't define you. Self-love is about giving yourself permission to be imperfect, to be human, and to know that you are always worthy of love, especially when you stumble. As you begin to focus on self-love, you'll start to notice something incredible happening. You'll start to attract more positivity into your life. When you love yourself, you radiate a different energy. You become magnetic. People are drawn to you because you exude confidence, peace, and joy. But this is not because of anything you've done differently on the outside. It's because you finally learned to honor yourself, to respect yourself, and to treat yourself with love. And that, in turn, makes the world around you a more loving place. The love you give yourself will overflow into every aspect of your life, into your relationships, your work, and your sense of peace. It will transform the way you show up in the world. Fear is one of the most powerful forces that holds us back from living the life we truly desire. It creeps into every corner of our minds, convincing us that we're not good enough, that we're not strong enough, that the world is too dangerous, too uncertain, and too unpredictable. Fear tells us that failure is a guarantee, that success is for others, and that we should stay within the confines of what we know because stepping out is too risky. But here's the truth. Fear is an illusion. It's a story we tell ourselves to protect us from the discomfort of uncertainty. But in reality, it's often the thing that keeps us from reaching our fullest potential. Think about a time when fear held you back from doing something you really wanted to do. Maybe it was speaking up in a meeting, pursuing a new career, or taking a leap of faith in a relationship. In that moment, you were paralyzed by the what ifs. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? What if people laugh at me? What if everything goes wrong? These what ifs can feel so real, so consuming, that they stop you in your tracks. But in every moment of fear, there's an opportunity to choose. Will you let the fear control you, or will you choose to be free of it? Freedom from fear isn't about never feeling fear. It's about learning how to move forward in spite of it. It's about understanding that fear is a normal part of the human experience, but it doesn't have to define you or determine your actions. Fear is not a signal that you should stop. It's simply a signal that you're on the verge of growth. Think about the most successful people in the world, whether they are athletes, entrepreneurs, or creators. They don't fear failure, they fear staying the same. They know that every time they face fear head on, they become stronger. They've learned that fear is not something to be avoided, but something to be embraced, understood, and overcome. There's a story about a young woman who had always dreamed of starting her own business. For years, she sat on the idea, paralyzed by fear. Fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of what people might think. She watched others take the leap and succeed, and each time her heart ached because she knew that she was just as capable. But still, the fear kept her frozen in place. Then one day she decided to take a small step forward. She started researching, talking to people who had done it before, and slowly the fear began to subside. She didn't start with a huge leap. She started with one small action that moved her closer to her dream. And as she began to take action, she realized something incredible. The fear didn't go away, but it no longer controlled her. The more she acted, the smaller the fear seemed, until it was just a whisper in the background. Today, she runs a successful business, not because she didn't feel fear, but because she learned how to be free of it by taking action. Fear has a funny way of telling us that we need to be perfect before we take action. It tells us that we need to have everything figured out, to be completely prepared, to have every single piece of the puzzle in place before we make our move. But this is a lie. Action is the antidote to fear. It's when we stay in the planning stage, when we keep thinking about all the things that could go wrong, that we get stuck. But when we take that first step, even if we don't know exactly how things will unfold, the fear starts to lose its power. It starts to dissolve because action creates momentum. It shows us that we are capable, that we are more resilient than we ever thought possible. Let's talk about the fear of judgment. It's something that stops so many of us from showing up fully as ourselves. We worry about what people will think, what they'll say, how they'll react. And that fear often leads to self-doubt, insecurity, and a reluctance to express ourselves. But imagine a world where you didn't care what others thought. Imagine if you were free to be your true self, to chase your dreams without constantly worrying about fitting into someone else's expectation. The truth is, people's opinions don't define you. Everyone has an opinion, but those opinions are based on their own experiences, their own fears, and their own limitations. When you let someone else's judgment control your actions, you give away your power. But when you free yourself from the fear of judgment, you reclaim that power and take back control of your life. Think about a time when you were afraid to speak your truth, afraid to be real with someone because you didn't want to risk their disapproval. That fear of judgment kept you from having a genuine conversation, from being authentic, and from truly connecting. Now think about a time when you let go of that fear and spoke up anyway. Maybe it was uncomfortable at first, but the relief you felt after speaking your truth was worth it. You didn't lose anything by being real. You gained clarity, you gained respect, and you likely gain a deeper connection with the person on the other end of the conversation. When you let go of the fear of judgment, you unlock your true voice and give others permission to do the same. Let's also talk about the fear of failure. This is one of the biggest barriers to success. The fear of failing at something, of not meeting your own expectations, of falling short of the mark can keep you stuck in a place of inaction. But here's the thing, failure is not the enemy. Failure is simply feedback. It's a lesson in disguise, a stepping stone on the path to success. Every failure you experience brings you one step closer to the person you need to become to achieve your dream. Every time you fall, you learn how to get back up, how to adjust your approach, and how to keep going. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about embracing it as part of the process. Fear of failure is like a prison that keeps you locked in your comfort zone. But when you break free from it, the world becomes your playground. You stop seeing obstacles as roadblocks and start seeing them as opportunities to grow. You stop fearing the unknown and start leaning into it with curiosity and excitement. The unknown is where the magic happens, where new possibilities open up, where you discover just how capable and resourceful you truly are. Being free of fear doesn't mean you won't feel fear anymore. It means you no longer let it control you. It means that you will no longer let fear stop you from pursuing your dreams, from living authentically, from expressing your truth, and from being the person you are always meant to be. Every time you choose to move forward despite the fear, you become stronger, more confident, and more unstoppable. Fear is a natural part of the human experience, but you have the power to rise above it. The key to freedom is not avoiding fear, it's embracing it, learning from it, and using it as fuel to propel you forward. Connection is something that every human being craves. Deep down, we all want to feel seen, heard, and understood. We want to connect with others in a way that transcends surface-level interactions and taps into the true essence of who we are. Yet in today's world, with its distractions, social media noise, and constant demands, genuine connection often feels elusive. People interact every day, but how many of those interactions are truly authentic? How many times have you shared a moment with someone where you felt deeply connected, where you knew that you were speaking from the heart and they were truly listening, understanding, and engaging with you on a level that felt real? Authentic connection is rare, but it is also one of the most powerful forces in the world. When you learn how to connect with others authentically, you unlock a depth of relationships that can transform your life and the lives of those around you. The truth is, so many of us hide behind masks. We put on facades, pretending to be someone we're not, because we fear judgment, rejection, or simply because we've been conditioned to think that we need to be a certain way to be accepted. We wear these masks not only in our interactions with strangers, but even with people close to us, friends, family, colleagues. We withhold pieces of ourselves, thinking that if we show our true selves, people won't accept us. But here's the truth. The real you is the one people connect with, the person behind the mask. The person with the vulnerabilities, the imperfections, the experiences, and the stories is the one people will connect with most. When you let go of the need to hide and allow your authentic self to shine through, you create a space where real, deep connections can take root. Let me give you an example. Think about the last time you had a conversation with someone who truly made you feel seen. Maybe it was a friend, a mentor, or even a stranger who simply took the time to listen to you without judgment, who asked questions that made you reflect, who showed empathy and understanding. That kind of connection is rare, and it leaves an imprint on you. You walk away from that conversation feeling better, more understood, more open. Why? Because you were met with authenticity. In that moment, you didn't have to pretend to be anyone else. You were able to show up exactly as you are, and that person met you there in your truth. That's the power of authentic connection. Now think about the opposite. How many times have you had conversations where you felt like the other person wasn't really present? Maybe they were distracted. Maybe they were just waiting for their turn to speak. Maybe they were more interested in telling their own story than hearing yours. In those moments, you didn't feel seen. You didn't feel heard. You didn't feel a connection. And that's because true connection requires vulnerability. It requires a willingness to open up and share who we really are, not just the polished version of ourselves that we think will be more palatable to others. Being authentic doesn't mean that you have to share every detail of your life with everyone you meet, but it does mean showing up as your true self. It means being honest about your thoughts, your feelings, your struggles, and your victories. When you show up as your authentic self, you create a ripple effect. People around you will feel the shift. They will feel the difference between someone who is being real and someone who is hiding behind a mask. And when others sense that you're being authentic, they're more likely to be authentic themselves. It creates an environment of trust, openness, and vulnerability that fosters deep, meaningful connections. One of the most beautiful aspects of connecting authentically with others is the ability to create a space where people feel safe to be vulnerable to. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it is a strength. When you allow yourself to be vulnerable, you give others permission to do the same. You show them that it's okay to be imperfect, to make mistakes, to struggle, and to not have everything figured out. Vulnerability is what fosters deep, real relationships. It's what creates lasting bonds between people. When you share your authentic self with others, you create an environment where people feel comfortable sharing their own truths. I want you to think about a time when you've shared something personal with someone, maybe a fear, a failure, a dream you've been hesitant to admit. And in that moment, you were met with understanding, compassion, and perhaps even encouragement. That feeling of being heard, of being understood, is one of the most powerful experiences you can have. It makes you feel like you're not alone in the world. It reminds you that even in your struggles, you are supported. When you connect with others authentically, you create that sense of belonging, not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. Authentic connection doesn't just happen by chance. It's something you create with intention. It starts with being present in the moment, with putting down your phone, your distractions, and truly focusing on the person in front of you. It's about listening with your heart, not just your ears. It's about asking questions that go beyond small talk, questions that show a genuine interest in the other person's story, their thoughts, and their emotions. Authentic connection happens when you meet someone not just where they are on the surface, but where they are at their core. Let's take another example from daily life. You know when you're in a group setting and someone starts sharing something deeply personal. Maybe they're talking about a challenge they're facing at work, a relationship struggle, or something they've recently learned about themselves. In those moments, the room often quiets and everyone leans in. Why? Because people recognize authenticity. They recognize that someone is being brave enough to open up, and in turn, they feel inspired to do the same. Authenticity creates connection. It creates a space for others to open their hearts, to share their own truths, and to feel supported in doing so. The more you allow yourself to connect with others in this way, the more you'll find that you create an ever-growing circle of people who value you for who you truly are. But what about the fear of rejection? What about the belief that if you show up as your true self, people won't like you, won't accept you? The truth is, if you're not showing up as your true self, then you're not giving others the chance to love you for who you really are. When you're constantly wearing a mask, you attract people who are connecting with a version of you that isn't fully real. The relationships you build on this false version will never be as deep or fulfilling as the ones built on authenticity. Yes, it's true that some people may not resonate with who you are, but that's okay. True connection comes from being genuine. And those who align with your authentic self will be the ones who will stay, support, and lift you up. So how do you begin to connect with others authentically? Start by being vulnerable. Start by sharing something real with someone, whether it's your thoughts, your feelings, or a personal experience. Listen to others with an open heart. Be present. Allow yourself to be seen, and in doing so, you will begin to see others for who they truly are. The beauty of authentic connection is that it creates a space for everyone to show up as their true selves without fear of judgment or rejection. And in that space, relationships can flourish, and you can build connections that last a lifetime. Stepping into your power is not about gaining power from external sources. It's about recognizing the immense strength that already exists within you. Each one of us is born with untapped potential. But so often we are taught to doubt ourselves, to shrink back, and to second-guess our abilities. We grow up conditioned to believe that true power comes from external validation, whether it's from other people's approval, societal expectations, or material success. But the truth is, your power is already within you. It has always been there, waiting for you to claim it. Think about a time when you doubted yourself, when you felt small or incapable. Maybe you were about to take on a new challenge, a new opportunity, or a bold decision, and fear crept in. The voice inside your head told you you weren't good enough, that you would fail, that you weren't strong enough. That voice might have kept you from taking the first step, or may have caused you to hesitate when you knew you could have moved forward with confidence. But that voice is not the voice of truth. It's the voice of fear. Fear has a way of distorting reality, convincing us that we are powerless, that we are incapable, and that we are unworthy of success. So stepping into your power means silencing that voice and reclaiming the truth of who you are. It's about recognizing that you are capable of far more than you've ever imagined. The world doesn't need you to be perfect. It needs you to be authentic, bold, and unapologetically yourself. Your power is not in being flawless. It's in being real, raw, and unafraid to pursue your dreams with everything you have. Let's take a moment to reflect on the lives of some of the most successful people in history. They didn't get to where they are by being perfect, by avoiding mistakes, or by playing it safe. They stepped into their power despite their doubts, despite the odds, and despite the naysayers. Think about someone like Oprah Winfrey. She was told she wasn't good enough to be on television, that she didn't have the right look, and that she would never make it. Yet, she stepped into her power. She didn't let the criticism define her. Instead, she used it as fuel to push forward. She believed in herself even when the world didn't. And today, she's one of the most influential people on the planet. The same is true for countless others. People who took risks, made mistakes, and failed multiple times before they succeeded. What sets them apart is their ability to embrace failure as part of the journey, not as a reason to quit. Failure is not a reflection of your power. It's an essential part of the process. Every time you fail, you learn. Every setback teaches you something valuable about yourself and about the world around you. It's not about avoiding failure. It's about learning how to rise stronger every time you fall. Stepping into your power also means letting go of the need for external validation. We live in a world where it's easy to seek approval from others, to measure our worth by likes, comments, and shares. But true power doesn't come from the opinions of others. It comes from your inner knowing, from your ability to stand firm in your beliefs, values, and vision. When you stop seeking validation from the outside world, you start to cultivate an inner sense of confidence that no one can take away from you. You start to trust yourself more, to believe in your own decisions, and to move forward with purpose. Consider the story of a young entrepreneur who had a brilliant idea but was terrified to pursue it because everyone around them told them it wouldn't work. Family, friends, and colleagues all said it was too risky, too unconventional, too much of a long shot. But there was a small voice inside, a voice that whispered, "Go for it." It was a voice that believed in their potential, a voice that trusted in their abilities. And despite all the doubts and fears, they chose to listen to that voice. They stepped into their power, took the leap, and faced every challenge with resilience and determination. Today, that entrepreneur is running a thriving business, not because they were fearless, but because they didn't let fear stop them. They stepped into their power and chose to believe in themselves when it mattered most. Stepping into your power also requires a willingness to let go of past limitations. Many of us carry around the weight of past experiences, mistakes, failures, regrets that prevent us from stepping into our full potential. We tell ourselves stories about what we can and can't do based on past experiences. But here's the thing, your past does not define your future. Your power lies in your ability to break free from those limiting beliefs, to stop identifying with past failures, and to realize that you are not bound by what has happened to you. You are bound only by what you believe is possible. The moment you release those limiting beliefs, you open the door to a world of infinite possibilities. Think about someone who grew up in difficult circumstances. Perhaps they faced financial struggles, family challenges, or personal setbacks. Despite all of this, they chose to step into their power and rise above their circumstances. They refused to let their past determine their future. They understood that power isn't about where you come from, it's about where you're going. The moment they chose to believe in their own strength, to step into their power, they begin to attract new opportunities, new connections, and new possibility. In your own life, you have the same choice. You can choose to step into your power at any moment. You can choose to stop holding yourself back with self-doubt, fear, and insecurity. You can choose to stop playing small, to stop settling for less than you deserve, and to start taking bold steps toward your dreams. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or the right circumstances. The perfect moment is now. The right circumstances are the ones you create by stepping up, by taking action, and by believing in yourself, despite the challenges you may face. Stepping into your power also means embracing your uniqueness. So often we try to fit in, to conform to societal standards, or to follow the crowd in an attempt to gain acceptance. But true power comes from embracing what makes you different. Your uniqueness is your superpower. It's what sets you apart from everyone else. The world needs the special gifts that only you can bring. Don't dim your light to fit in. Shine bright, even if it means standing out. When you choose to step into your power, you are not only changing your life, you are changing the world around you. You become a beacon of strength, inspiration, and possibility for others. Your courage to step up and be your true self encourages those around you to do the same. The ripple effect of stepping into your power is limitless. When you embrace your own strength, you empower others to do the same. You create a chain reaction of confidence, resilience, and unstoppable determination. Remember, the power you seek is already inside you. It's time to stop waiting for permission, for the perfect circumstances, or for someone else to validate you. Step into your power now, because the world is waiting for you to show up as the unstoppable force that you truly are. As we stand at the crossroads of our lives, we must remember one undeniable truth. The greatest power we will ever possess is the power we hold within ourselves. It is not found in titles, in fame, or in the validation of others. It is within you, deep down in your soul. You may have been told at some point that you weren't good enough, that you couldn't achieve your dreams, that you didn't have what it takes. But I'm here to tell you today that those words were not the truth. They were just noise. The truth is, you are more powerful than you realize. The fire within you, the potential waiting to be unleashed, has been there all along. It's time to stop letting fear, doubt, and insecurity hold you back. Remember this, you were not born to play small. You were born to make an impact, to leave your mark on this world, to stand tall and claim the life you deserve. The only thing standing between where you are now and where you want to be is you. The decisions you make today will determine the future you walk into tomorrow. The choices you make to step into your power, to believe in yourself, and to take bold action will lead you down a path where success is inevitable. But it all starts with you, your belief in your potential, your willingness to take that first step, and your refusal to accept anything less than greatness. Think about the legends, the ones we admire, the ones who changed the world. Did they have all the answers? Did they have it all figured out? No, they didn't. They simply made the choice to believe in themselves when the world doubted them, to keep going when others told them to stop, to rise above their circumstances when life knocked them down. They embraced the power within them and ran with it. You can do the same. The truth is that everything you need to succeed is already inside you. The strength, the drive, the courage, it's all there waiting for you to tap into it. You just have to trust yourself enough to make the leap. You have to stop living for other people's expectations. Stop waiting for the world to give you permission to shine. The time to rise is now. If you've ever felt the pull of something greater, a dream that's been quietly calling you, it's time to answer that call. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs you, the real, authentic, powerful version of yourself. I want you to hear this loud and clear. You are not defined by your past mistakes, your failures, or your doubts. You are defined by the decisions you make today and the actions you take tomorrow. Your future is not in the hands of others, it's in your hands. Your destiny is not a matter of chance, it's a matter of choice. And you have the power to choose. Let this be your moment of realization. You are not waiting for the perfect time because there is no perfect time. The perfect time is now. The moment you decide to step into your power, to rise up and claim the greatness that is yours, is the moment everything begins to change. You can either let life control you or you can take control of your life. The choice is yours, and it's a choice that will shape everything that follows. As you move forward, always remember, you are more than enough, you are worthy, and you are destined for greatness. Life will throw challenges your way, but it's not the challenges that define you. It's how you respond to them. Do not fear failure, because failure is nothing more than a stepping stone on your journey to success. Every setback is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to become stronger. It is in the darkest moments that your light shines the brightest. And let me remind you, greatness isn't about having all the answers. It's about having the courage to keep going even when you don't have all the answers. It's about stepping into the unknown, trusting that your power will guide you. So what are you waiting for? The world is waiting for you to show up. The moment you make the decision to step into your power, you unleash a force that cannot be stopped. The world will respond. Doors will open. Opportunities will come. And you will find yourself surrounded by the people and circumstances that align with your true purpose. But none of this will happen if you don't take that first step. So take it. Stand tall. Speak your truth. Chase your dreams, and know this: you are unstoppable. When you believe in yourself, when you step into your power, nothing is impossible. The only limits that exist are the ones you place on yourself. So break free, rise up, and let your greatness shine through. You've got this. Now it's time to show the world what you're made of.